As 2013 comes to a close, everyone enjoys looking back and selecting their favorite films of the year. You can find out my picks by clicking here, and you can vote for your own top 10 in the BTT Viewer poll by clicking the link in the video description. You have until midnight on January 2nd to vote. But all these lists are opinions, whereas the box office top 10 is indisputable. So let's crunch those 2013 numbers, the black and white list of top 10 movies of the year. But I'm sure we'll debate it anyway, because it's fun. Asterisks, I know that these numbers will shift as we get into 2014, but who's going to want to watch this video in March? And for the first time, I'll be going by the worldwide numbers, as that's what Hollywood is doing these days. Although in 2013, for the first time in the last few years, not a single movie's foreign box office was in the 70th percentile, meaning that appealing to American audiences is still crucial to a film's success, at least for now. I'm also including the budgets, and remember, studios get about half of a movie's box office, and budgets do not include advertising costs. Let's begin. 20th Century Fox can feel good about their new deal with DreamWorks Animation, as they gave the studio their only entry on this list, The Croods. This must really rub salt in the wound for Disney, who treated Chris Sanders so poorly, the Lilo & Stitch creator jumped ship for the competition. At DreamWorks Animation, Sanders was asked to fix two films in development, How to Train Your Dragon and The Croods. I'd say he'd done good. Both are two of DreamWorks' most successful films that are being turned into franchises. It's nice to see he's found a studio that appreciates him and all the money he makes for them. DreamWorks Animation left Paramount to join Fox, one of only many recent losses for Paramount that are clearly taking a toll. World War Z was on this list, Paramount's only entry, until The Hobbit: The Desolation of Smaug kicked it off just this week. That's a much-needed development for Warner Brothers, though, giving them a tie with Disney for the most picks on this list, 3 apiece. Only 3 weeks into its run, expect Smaug to climb much higher. Speaking of Disney, they don't just have a deal with Marvel Studios, but own them, and the brand 2013. While on par with Iron Man's second film, interestingly, Thor's domestic box office stayed about even with the second film, while the Avengers has clearly increased his global street cred. One has to wonder how far Mjolnir will carry him on his third outing, or is that Loki doing the heavy lifting? But floating past both Fabios is Sandra Bullock, as Gravity was the 7th most successful film of the year. In fact, it was a very good year for women at the box office in general, with female leads or strong supporting female characters in almost all of the top 10 movies. While Bullock's The Blind Side actually matched Gravity's domestic haul, it was the worldwide appeal of Alfonso Cuarón's opus that catapulted it into deep space. The only other time a Cuarón pick has done this kind of business was when he added some much-needed sophistication to the Harry Potter franchise post-Chris Columbus. This is also a nice reminder for Warner Brothers that franchises are not their only source of revenue, as Gravity came awfully close to their third film in the top 10, Man of Steel. Ironically, Zack Snyder's Superman couldn't fly as high as Christopher Nolan's Batman, despite the training wheels Nolan provided as executive producer. And while Man of Steel performed better than most of competitor Marvel's picks, you can see that Warner Brothers is eager to get their DC movies back in the billion-dollar club, as they're set to reintroduce Batman in Man of Steel 2. Good news, though, is that Man of Steel has the second most even split between domestic and foreign box office. Now, if you want Pixar to stop making sequels, I've got bad news. Monsters University is the 5th most successful film of the year and Pixar's 3rd most successful film of all time, behind Finding Nemo and Toy Story 3, another sequel. And while Frozen is conjuring up an awful lot of green, poor Elsa and Anna are still no match for Mike and Sully. Last year, the first Hunger Games had a hard time winning over foreign audiences, but thanks to a significantly increased overseas ad campaign, Lionsgate has literally bought themselves the 4th most successful film of the year, and it will likely climb even higher as we head into 2014. The first Hunger Games only managed a 60-40 split for the number 9 spot on 2012's top 10 list, while Catching Fire so far has gained 10 points overseas. And Jennifer Lawrence is the true star of this franchise. With this, her role as Mystique in last year's Oscar win, creating the perfect Hollywood star storm. The 3rd most successful film of 2013 is a bittersweet achievement, Fast and Furious 6. Hollywood's most diverse franchise continues to do high-octane global business, outpacing Fast 5 by more than $100 million, which itself had almost doubled the 4th entry. Fast 7's success was a sure bet until Paul Walker's tragic death in November, leaving the fate of the franchise uncertain. The 2nd most successful film of 2013 is Despicable Me 2, an incredible achievement for Illumination Entertainment, as well as Universal, as it gives them both number 2 and 3 on this list. With just their 4th film, it's clear that Despicable Me is Illumination Entertainment's Toy Story or Shrek, and they plan to milk it just as hard. A Minions movie is slated for 2015, and with these numbers, almost $1 billion, there is sure to be a 3rd Despicable Me. So what was the most successful film of 2013? That would be Marvel's Iron Man 3, the only film this year to join the $1 billion club. That's bad news for Hollywood, as that hasn't happened since 2009. Side note, the $1 billion club began in 1997 with Titanic, and there wasn't another member until 2003's The Return of the King. Pirates 2 joined in 2006, after which we've had new members every year. But hey, maybe Smaug will save the day. Iron Man 3 gives Marvel its 2nd $1 billion film, and both star Robert Downey Jr. Disney and Marvel Studios were able to re-sign him this year as his contract ran out after Iron Man 3. They got him back for an undisclosed sum, but we do know it's a fraction of $1 billion. And those are the top 10 grossing movies of 2013, the movies that audiences the world over chose to spend their money on, in many cases more than once. Did you? Write your thoughts down below. I'm Grace Randolph, and don't forget to vote for your top